So this AI space is actually getting so interesting because we can now build full stack AI apps, AI web applications with no previous coding experience and without spending thousands on software engineers or anything like that. And you might be thinking, Vaughan, well, I don't even have any ideas for AI SaaS, but that's okay because we can even use AI to generate the idea now. And it's got so good at market research that, this thing is equivalent of some of you guys who are in big consulting firms and in places like JP Morgan who are getting paid 60, 100 grand a year to do this research. We can now do it pretty much for free. So what we're going to do today is we're going to ask Manus AI, which is a AI agent which can basically go and open multiple browsers for you at the same time and do research in the background for you. And we're going to compare it to Perplexity as well. So we're going to see what the ideas are going to come up with. We're going to compare them, see which one's better. And there's going to be some free game for you as well, because you could probably just go and steal these ideas. But let's get straight into it. And the reason while I'm looking at AI SaaS, I know this is quite unrelated to some of the other stuff that I put on the channel, but I genuinely believe this is one of the best opportunities of 2025 to get rich and actually start a multi-million-pound company would be through AI SaaS, because there's a lot of industries that have boring, mundane systems that could be replaced with AI software that could do it for them, or huge teams of people which they just don't need. I know that sounds pretty sinister now. I actually listen to that back in my head. Not that they don't need, but they can move into better positions instead of having them doing these mundane tasks. That's what I meant to say. So let's have a little look. So this is Manus AI I'm in right now, and this is the prompt I've gone with. So I want you to act as a technical co-founder. I want you to research gaps in the market for AI SaaS. SaaS just stands for software as a service that could potentially solve problems for businesses that may be slow to adopt technology. Their aim is to hit 1 million ARR, so annual recurring revenue, in the first year. The MVP, or the minimum viable product, should cost less than £1,000 to build. And I also want you to find me a problem to solve that doesn't have highly funded competitors. So the reason I did this before the video was because this thing actually took I think it took something like 8 minutes or something to actually think through and do all this research. And I can actually show the exact process it went through. But then what I did is I just copy and pasted this one and put it into Perplexity. And, it gave me some totally different ideas. So the one Perplexity actually went with was a AI-powered marketing agency SaaS software for local businesses, which to me I thought was actually pretty generic. The good thing about what Perplexity said with this is, because obviously it could be started for quite a low cost, so that was good. It kept within our our budget of £1,000 for an MVP, and it also gave me this bit, which is actually quite good, where it broke down how many customers we would need to get and things like that. So we can see here, customer acquisition costs: 600 customers on a starter plan, 400 on a growth plan, 150 on a multi-location plan. And then it even gave me the stages to sort of grow this one. But to be honest, I wasn't that impressed by the one that Perplexity gave me, because it was just pretty basic and generic. And, I've heard this one a million times before. But what Manus actually gave me was actually insane. And to be honest, unless you guys steal this from me, I would definitely look at, potentially building something like this. So what we can see this actually did, because Manus can open multiple browsers and basically act as a person on a computer. So we can actually have a look at what it did here. And as I said, this one took about 7 minutes. It went through some articles. It went through searching statistics on websites and things like that. And this is a live, sort of version of what it was looking at. So you can see all the articles. And because I said I want you to go into sort of, industries that would be slow to adopt it, it actually started looking towards agriculture, which is actually very interesting because there's not a lot of adoption of AI in them industries. So yeah, you can see it sort of looking through different websites, doing its research. And this is what it come up with. So the opportunity it come up with was construction and agriculture. As it said, these have the lowest adoption rates of just 1.4% of technology and AI, which makes it a prime target for new AI SaaS solutions. Key barriers to adoption include high implementation costs, lack of technical expertise. We have no technical expertise. I'm just a guy with a laptop. But luckily we have other tools like Lovable, and Bubble and things like that to build these web apps for us with pretty much no code. And cultural resistance and leadership and skepticism. I can imagine a few farmers, right, I'm not adopting AI, I'm a tractor, right, I gotta go out in the field, so... And that was a terrible accent of a farmer in Somerset in the UK. So yeah. Let's carry on anyway. So agriculture, poor rural connectivity, harsh environment, conditions for equipment, need for 3D multimodal. So then it did a little bit more research. Let's have a look. So it said, I've identified several promising market gaps and opportunities in agriculture and construction sectors, which both have extremely low AI adoption rates of 1.4%, So this was actually really interesting. So agriculture smartphone-based crop monitoring. So a simple mobile app that uses smartphone cameras plus AI to identify crop issues, targets small to medium farms, struggling with technical expertise barriers, solves real pain points, resource optimization, early detection. This is something that would actually do a lot of good for the world. You know, you could help farmers and things like that, grow more crops, make them cheaper for people, more food available. So I quite like the sound of this one. And then construction AI safety assistance, so mobile app monitoring site activity via existing cameras. Now this is actually a really good idea as well, because I know, where I live, there's actually a construction site not that far from me that was essentially a few people actually died in the building of it, which I think, in 2025, why should people be dying on these sites? Where is the safety precautions in place for this? I know mistakes can happen, but we could potentially reduce workplace accidents by 30 or 40% and lower insurance costs, and that's a huge win for society as a whole. So I really like that idea. Agriculture supply chain connector. So I'm just going to close this off actually. Agriculture supply chain, so platform connecting small farms directly to buyers with AI optimized logistics. So that's a good idea. Reduce waste by 30 to 40%, improve profit margins. Okay, so that's really interesting, because that's something I always thought about, fresh fruits and things like that. How many of them actually go bad while they're getting, sort of transported about? And there's obviously a lot of maths and logistics that go into that to make sure they don't go bad, but there's definitely a lot of wastage still. That there could be a huge opportunity there. Construction document AI, a tool that extracts and organizes information from construction documents, reduces administrative overhead by 30 to 40%, minimizes compliance risk. Okay, so that's really interesting. Pay-per-use model. Interesting. Cross-sector field worker productivity suite. So mobile app with AI-powered management for field workers. Addresses labour shortages in both sectors. Per user subscription model with team discounts. And then it went through and done some more analysing, searched a few websites. So this is that it then ranked them. So least competitive opportunities ranked field worker productivity suite. So least competitive, document AI, smartphone-based crop. Now then it went on to the technical feasibility of these, how easy it would be to actually build these. So based on extensive research into no code, low code, saying that typically, as I said to you, even a year ago, it might have cost 30 to 100 grand to hire the engineers and developers to build this. So we literally have the best tool ever at our fingertips. The highest technical feasibility, the fieldwork productivity suite. We can do that for £700 to £900. Supply chain connector. I quite like, I'm sort of leaning towards a smartphone-based crop monitoring. I'm not sure how big the market is, how many farmers there actually are to get rich off this, but it's definitely something that could help society. So yeah, let's see, now prioritize opportunity based on the criteria like market size. So, come on, we're doing this for a reason. We're doing this to make that money. So yes, I want you to prioritise making £1 million. So it's gone more into that. So complete prioritisation analysis for the opportunity based on the market size, potential revenue, market size. So massive addressable market for... So the field worker productivity suite emerges as the clear winner with the strongest overall potential. Massive addressable market, agriculture, 15.5 trillion, and construction sectors. Strong growth trends, 11.5%. I'm not going to lie, I don't actually know what that means. KAGR. And 10% in construction management. Revenue path, a freemium model with paid tiers, basic, free, pro, 25 a month, enterprise. So we would need just 3,000, just 3,000. I don't think it's really understanding how hard it is to get 3,000 customers, but it's still a good figure to have. So it needs 3,333 paying customers on the pro tier to reach 1 million ARR, and requires only a 0.033% conversion of the addressable market. Now, that's a bit... I don't see the point in putting that, because you can say that about anything. It's like, starting a clothing brand. I'm going to, it's worth, 20 billion. If I just capture 1% of this market, well, it's not really the best way to look at it. Competitive analysis, lowest competitive intensity among all options, which is good, because we don't want highly funded, startups and competitors. If you work in that world, you might go and steal this idea now off me, but I wonder if someone puts a similar prompt in, would this give exactly the same answer as I got? We'll see. Okay, interesting. Massive underserved market. And then what it's done here, it's actually built a opportunity analysis. We can have a look at executive summary, market opportunity. So this thing is absolutely amazing. So it's basically doing the job of, an analyst at a huge consulting firm who would write a white paper on this. high implementation costs, market size and growth, so that's amazing. And then it's also done an AI adoption research, market opportunities, competitor analysis, technical feasibility, opportunity prioritization, business model, and it's given me a sort of white paper, a little mini white paper for all of these, and then it's completed the task. So, this thing is so interesting, and you should just go and have a play around with this yourself and see the ideas it comes up with, because you could very easily, with the, with ChatGPT, with the expert guidance you've got from AI now, is get one of these ideas, validate it, do the research on it, get AI to do the research on it. And then, if it's a good enough idea, you can actually take this to private equity or, investors and get people to invest in this and start a real business out of this from an idea that you got from AI. So this is a huge opportunity, and this is one of the best opportunities I've seen this year to get rich. So I wanted to share this with you guys. I know this is sort of like a run through, sort of, not necessarily tutorial, because I don't know how much I've actually taught you how to use it, but it's pretty simple. Same as ChatGPT. So it's more about asking the right questions. So hope you got some value in this. Please don't steal my idea, because I quite like that idea. And yeah, if you want me to make more videos like this, I will do, and I'll post them on this channel. So see you guys in the next one.